Hello, Richard. This is Gregory Cole, and I am going to give you a review of your persuasive presentation today. First of all, your thesis for your presentation, I believe, was basically saying that talking about movies that come from books, and I believe you talk about it here, starting right here in the beginning.
Have you ever been excited about a book you read that it was going to be made into a movie? I have too, but sometimes I'm really disappointed. Other times I think they're done really well. I've watched and read many movies that have came from books.
Here, I can tell you begin with your storytelling, and you're telling about your disappointment by some of the books that have become movies. And you're stating how some of the books that you love and that you have read have been made into movies, and they have not um, been on par to the actual way that the book was read. Here, you will continue to talk about your disappointment in the books, and here you begin to speak on your three main points of your presentation.
And also, seen movies that were based on books, so I went back and read them. And I've come up with about three things that, for me, either make or break the movie.
I believe your first point was about books that do not become true, or books that do not stay true, uh, or I'm sorry, or movies that do not stay true to the book.
Um, the first would be that they don't remain true to the characters or the scenes in the movie. The artist has painted a picture for us with their words, describing the characters and the scenes. And probably the most recent example I can think of that the character didn't match the book would be from The Mortal Instruments, The City of Bone. Valentine was almost completely opposite of what he was in the book. His hair was blonde, he was dark-headed, and his character was more evil and dark, and in the book he was more likable and still evil. But I think that the movie should remain true to characters and scene and stay that way.
Here, coming up comes your second point, which is the movies do not follow the storyline of the original books. And your third point coming up here would be about time, how the movie makers do not, well, most movie makers do not allow the proper amount of time or storytelling um, to be able to get the same point across that the book does.
That's not something that they should change. The other thing that really bothers me is whenever they don't follow the storyline from the book. When they start changing it or rearranging events, it doesn't make sense after you've read the book. And so they should remain true there. I mean, the book is a blueprint for the story. It gives us step by step how everything happened. And so, if the book's already a bestseller, then there shouldn't be a big reason to change the events or alter them from what we see. The last part would be time. I think too many movies restrict the time it takes for a plot to unfold. They take out events or they compress them so we don't get the sense of time that we should or that we had when we read the book. A good example of a bad one would be Aragon. I read the book and thought it was a really good book. The movie.
Here, you're giving examples to your final point. You did also give examples for your other 2 points as well, which is really excellent, and you did a good job there.
Did a good job of characters and the scenery and stuff like that. But the sense of time was gone. It didn't take as long for everything to happen, so it felt like it was moving too fast. They should try to keep the pace. Lord of the Rings was a good example of one that did take the time to.
Here you present us with another story, one story about a book and a movie that most all know about, The Lord of the Rings, which was another good example of storytelling and how you were able to relate to us, your audience.
Tell the story. They, you know, stepped over lines about the length of a movie and gave it the time they needed. They broke up the last book at least into two books because they needed more time to tell that story. And the Lord of the Rings also was really good at the character and the chain of events. They did take out some minor ones, but overall it was a very good success. I think going back, if they follow those three kind of basic guidelines,
Here you restate your three main points, which I think you did really well.
that most movies would be a success and they would have less trouble or you know a better franchise in the end. Thanks.
Your clincher, Richard, I believe, was to follow the guidelines for the books. It says if you were talking to the movie makers and you were asking them or you were explaining to them, say, hey, please follow the guidelines for the books that you make into movies, the movie would be that much better if you did follow these guidelines. As far as natural, authentic delivery, I do believe that you are authentic, but I did not see your natural side or I did not see your nakedness. I don't feel I saw your true or actual personality here. I have that problem as well. It's something that I'm working on. I'm going to continue to work on, but I think that you did show your authenticity. But I think you may need a little work on the natural side of that. My very favorite slide of yours was I believe it was the first slide that was labeled Tolkien, and it was the picture showing the books, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, the Tolkien book. I like the artistic eye that the photographer had when he took the pictures. I like the frame. I like the colors. They jump out at you, and I think that was one of your best slides. Again, this is my presentation for you, Richard, on your persuasive presentation. Again, my name is Gregory Cole, and I think you did a really good job. Thanks.